A very good evening. Welcome to Lone Star Park. Mother Nature is throwing everything at us. I'm Jonathan Horowitz, stepping in at the last minute for announcer Jim Byers, and joined by Rodney Nelson. We can hear the rain in the background. Rodney, it's going to be an interesting night.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. We have 11 races scheduled. Like you said, the rain is falling behind us. It's been falling for about 3 days now here in Texas. Something after this last summer, we didn't have rain for 40 days or so. This is a little bit different, but glad to have you here calling the races tonight, and you're no stranger to the booth upstairs, are you?
Yeah, Rodney, I have good memories being here at Lone Star Park. It was actually one of the first places where I ever announced a horse race back in 2000 when I was 15 years old. Subsequent to that, I had the chance to fill in here for a night or two, and then my wife Ashley and I come back each year to broadcast the big Arabian Stakes races for the Arabian Jockey Club, and now to get the chance to call the races again over the public address system and to start out with those Arabian Stakes races.
Yeah, it just happened that we have a couple of the big Arabian Stakes races on the card tonight. Both divisions of the Texas Arabian Stallion Stakes, grade 2s for both of them. So it's going to be a fun way to kick off the night tonight.
Well, yeah, we'll kick things off with the Filly and Mare division. There's two divisions, Open Division, Filly and Mare division. Filly and Mare division is race number 1, and there is a scratch of number 2, KD Derby Girl, leaving a field of 8, and you see the picks for Jim Byers as well as for yourself up on the booth, and you've both settled in on Pearl Spirit AA, who you saw earlier this season.
That's right. Pearl Spirit AA, I think this is a horse that you've got to like here in this spot. And if you look at the early odds right now, 1-5 on Pearl Spirit AA. Is what we see on the screen right now. Of course, there's an hour to post, but looks like a very warranted favorite here with Pearl Spirit AA. Has been out here at Lone Star Park once. That was the most recent race. Won that race. That was the Texas Lone Star Juvenile. That was a grade 3 out here. Did it by 4 lengths. If you look at the 3 races that Pearl Spirit AA has run before that, all of them wins. All of them favorites, all of them wins. So I'm going to stick with the trend and take Pearl Spirit AA as my top choice over number 4, RB Madeline Kate. That's going to be my second choice here. Horse also has a win out here at Lone Star Park. You got to look back to last year to find that, but that wasn't the Texas Lone Star Juvenile last year. Since then has been running fairly well. I mean, the last 2 races here so far this year, one down at Retama on the 19th of August. That was a Texas Arabian Oaks. Ran a solid 3rd in that one. Picked up a grade 3 win by a head before that. You got to like RB Madeline Kate, and both those top choices that I have, trained by Ernesto Torres, he's been lights out here with the Arabian races this year. And then I'll take number 1, Uptown Lady Arabella, as my third choice. Horse is coming off a win last time out right here on our track. We'll see how this horse handles around 2 turns tonight, but has a good record out here at Lone Star Park. Out of 6 starts, has won half of them. So pretty impressive there for Uptown Lady Arabella. But I've got it 5-4-1 here in the opener.
Will Pearl Spirit be able to keep her undefeated record intact? And she will, if she wins, have a case to potentially be the Arabian Horse of the Year in the United States. Race number 2, the Open Division of the Texas Arabian Stallion Stakes. This is a race where the winner could have a strong claim to be Horse of the Year. You have a previous winner in this race in Quicksand AA. He won this race back in 2018 when he was Horse of the Year. Patty's Day, it'll be his final career start. He won this race back in 2015 and in 2020. But then you have the 3-year-olds, Diamond Gem AA, the big 14-length winner of the Texas Lone Star Juvenile, and RB Grand Slam, who was second to him. Do you go with the new kids on the block, or do you go with the experience?
I'm going with one of the experienced horses here, and it's kind of crazy looking down through this field. We see Patty's Day with a morning line of 8-1. You don't hardly see that on Patty's Day at all. This horse goes off favored most every time, but that just shows you how tough of a field this one is tonight. Being that it's rainy out here, we're on a sloppy track, so there's no doubt about that. But I'm taking one of the old horses here that has some experience or going around 2 turns. That is Quicksand AA. I think this is a solid horse here in this position. Out of the 5 starts so far in 2022, this horse has been able to hit the board on all of them, including a couple wins. Especially that last out was a win for Quicksand AA right here on our track. Has some experience going around 2 turns as well, having done it 7 times at this 1-mile distance. Has a win. 3 seconds and 3/3. So, 7 out of 7 this horse has been able to hit the board at the 1-mile distance. Plus has a good record out here at Lone Star Park as well, hitting the board in all nine of the starts out here over our surface, so definitely solid for Quicksand AA. That's another Ernesto Torres trained horse. I got to take Patty's Day as my second selection here. This is a horse we've seen out here 7 different times. I've watched this horse win out here. One of my favorite Arabian horses to watch. Seems like every time that I see this horse on the track, it's worth a couple bucks. Patty's Day, especially if you can get something like 8-1 of that morning line. You were telling me earlier, this is Patty's Day out of all those 56 races has never been on an off track.
None of them have been on an off track.
Or no wins on an off track. So kind of a question mark there. We'll see how this 11-year-old handles it. But definitely can go around 2 turns. Can run great out here at Lone Star Park. I'm excited to see Patty's Day. And then I got the 5 Diamond Gym AA, one of the newcomers up for third. This horse had 2 pretty good races. Like you said, last time won by 14. Race before that, almost won by 10. You got to give some respect to this horse, but only been sprinting. He's never gone around 2 turns. That's the question mark for me, but I do think this horse can get up in the top 3.
Well, Jim boxes the same trifecta as you, putting the 2 Allegro Arabians horses trained by Ernesto Torres on top, Quicksand AA over Diamond Gem AA, Patty's Day for third. I announced Patty's very first race in Colorado in 2014, and now I'll get to call his last in 2022. He's had a fascinating career all over the world. Well, we'll get into the quarter horse races, starting in race number 3, going 870 yards and an allowance non-winners of 3, field of 7 with an even money favorite in number 6, The Dream, but both you and Jim go a different direction.
Yeah, every once in a while we take a shot on somebody else. I think Just My Disco has a good chance to win in this one. I love the team, John Steinbo, Francisco Calderon. When these guys team up, they win a ton of races. Last time out, Just My Disco was a winner at this 870-yard distance. That was the first time this horse moved out to run around the hook, and it turned into be a win over a next out winner as well. I think Just My Disco can take it once again. Over the 6, The Dream, that even money favorite that you spoke about. I think this horse does have some speed, has been running in some good races. We've seen a lot of horses that have run out in New Mexico at Ruidoso Downs, step foot on the track here for the first time of the year, and run very well. The Dream could definitely do that, but what I don't like is this horse has never been around the hook before. Sometimes horses at their first time at 870 have a tendency to blow that turn a little bit. Don't know if I can take an even money here in a 7-horse field. I'll go a different way, but I do think The Dream is good enough to get up for second. And then I got the rail horse, I Am Tough, as my third selection here. This is a horse, if you look back, has been running a ton of stakes races. A lot of them at 550, but a horse does have 11 starts at 870, including the most recent race, which was the fourth place finish out here at Lone Star Park. But out of those 11 starts at the distance, does have 1 win. You just got to look quite a ways back to find that one.
Ali Rivera is off tonight, so Jacobo Aguilar will ride number 7, Weapon First Bug. I'm interested to see how the 870 races play out at Lone Star. I tend to go with 870 horses that have had a run over the racetrack before. There's something about the turn, say, in Ruidoso versus the turn in Lone Star. So if I was going to buck the trend of the two of you, I'd go with I Am Tough on the inside. But to see you and Jim both in agreement, it's hard to disagree with those 2 smart minds in quarter horse and Arabian horse racing here at Lone Star. Well, the rest of the card will be the straightaway races, starting in race number 4, maiden claiming race for 2-year-olds, and there is a field of 8 that will go 300 yards. And in race number 4, this is where you and Jim differ. Jim goes with Zoom and Chrome. You go with Some Black Magic.
Yeah, I'll take Some Black Magic here, hoping for something here. 9 to 5 on the morning line for this one. This horse has been running up in Oklahoma the last few races. Been running fairly well up there. Last time out was a 4th place finish, beaten by 3/4 of a length. Race before that, beaten by a length in the 2nd place finish. This is going to be this horse is in for $5,000 tonight. Hadn't been in for this tag since August at Retama Park. We'll see if that class relief, a little bit of class relief, helps out Some Black Magic here. I'll take the 1 5-star Chick as my 2nd place horse right here. This is a horse that's making a class drop as well. Was in for 12.5 the last couple races. Coming down here to basically the bottom level. And we'll see if this filly has something left. See if she can't run decent tonight. And then I took the 6 Feather Bacall as my 3rd choice here. What I like about this horse is lightly raced, only 2 starts. The first one was all right, beaten by a length and a half. The most recent one just didn't have it that day. But if you take a look at the trainer, Arnold Lewis, his last 2 starts out here at Lone Star Park have both been wins. So I'm riding a hot streak with Feather Bacall and hoping this horse can get across the line at some decent odds tonight.
That's race number 4, the first of the straightaway races, and continuing in the straightaway races also at the 300-yard distance in race number 5, where a field of 7 Texas-accredited 3-year-olds and up will compete in a non-winner of 2 claiming race. And in this 5th race, we have a field of 7. Where did you land in this 5th race?
I ended up on the number 2 horse, OC Lucky Girl. What I like about this one is last time out, it was at 250 yards, but that came over our track here. Horse got bumped at the start in that race, ended up 8th out of 10, but was only beaten by 2. So after those bumps at the start, still had a fairly decent run to come in that race. Before that, if you look back to Sam Houston this year, the horse had some decent races, missing by a head in one of those, and a second-place finish. Was in for a $10,000 tag that night. Second choice is going to be your 3. That is SG. She's a Jet 2. This horse trained by James Lackey here. He's had some good runners as of late. The most recent race was over a sloppy track right here at Lone Star Park. That was back on November the 4th. That was at 350 yards. The horse had a pretty good run in that one. Was up there close on the way down the track. If you take a look at the races back at Retama Park, specifically the 2 most recent races at Retama Park, we had a 3rd-place finish, and then this horse broke its maiden at the $10,000 level at this 300-yard distance. I think you got to like that. And then I got the 7 Runaway Cartel as my 3rd choice here in race number 5. Horse has had a lot of experience. 23 different times this horse has been in races out here, or races lifetime. 11 of them out here at Lone Star Park. Hasn't been able to get that win yet. Does have a couple seconds and a couple thirds. Has a win at 300 yards as well. Putting all those things together, I'm looking for a better run for the Runaway Cartel. Was a solid 3rd place by a neck last time out on a sloppy track like we're going to have tonight. If this horse likes to run in the mud, we'll see what happens. The Runaway Cartel could run away with it.
What's your view as far as with the quarter horse races and the sloppy racetrack? How much do you believe in the shorter races, the surface could mess with the horse's running style?
Well, the way I look at it is in these quarter horse races, when the track is wet and sloppy like this, if they're able to break well and don't get that mud thrown back in their face, then I feel like they run fairly true to form. It's when maybe you miss the break a little bit, get caught behind somebody, you'll see some of these horses that don't like the mud and just retreat, and then the next time out, pop them on a fast dry track.
So you want to get a good break on these sloppy tracks.
Generally, that's how I want my quarter horses to run every time, is to break well. But on these sloppy
more
tracks,
important,
getting behind in some traffic, not always the best place to be.
So that's race number 5 at 300 yards. Race number 6 starts the 50-cent pick 6, and it's at 350 yards. Claiming race, non-winners of 2, claiming price $12,500. Field of 8 with the morning line favorite on the outside in number 8, Jesse Special Doll, coming out of Derby trial races. And do you go with him, or do you go with maybe a horse that's this is one of those kind of scenarios, you're moving up in class or moving down in class? What's your preference?
So I like a horse that's hot of late. Annie Get Your Gun. So this is a horse that I picked in the debut for him, followed back, picked him again. I think Jim picked him as well last time out. He ended up running 3rd on us, but lightly raced is what I like. Annie Get Your Gun won at first asking right out here on November the 4th. Followed that back up just about a month later in a solid 3rd. He was in for the $7,500 tag that day, so taking a little bit of step up. But the horse has been running fairly decent. And if you look at that first race, that was on a muddy track, got out there, loved it, and won it by half a length. I think that Annie Get Your Gun could have a good run, and I'm not one that is afraid to try to beat favorites, so that's why I'm going with that 8-1 morning line there. I got Jesse Special Doll, the favorite, as my 2nd choice. This is one of those that's been out in New Mexico, coming over here at Lone Star for the first time. Could run well. Trainer Bradley Bolin, he sent out some pretty fast horses, some pretty quick horses out here this year, and won with quite a few of them. 11 races at the time that this program was printed out of 46 starts. Francisco Calderon gets the mount tonight. I think he's leading our jockey colony. A lot to like about the 8. I just think that Annie Get Your Gun might be able to nab him on the wire tonight. And then number 6, Dixie Moon Jagger, is going to be my 3rd selection. This is a horse that we've seen out at Lone Star 7 different times, 4 times so far this year. And out of those races this year on our track, a couple seconds, a win, and a 4th. That 4th was only beaten by 3/4 of a length. Those seconds, one was by a half, one was by a head. So right up there, this horse could have picked up 3, maybe even 4 wins on our meet. could have been that close, but she's fast enough to run out here and compete with these. She's done well at this distance. I think Dixie Moon Jagger's one to watch here as well in race 6.
Annie Get Your Gun, interesting choices to start out his career, given that he began at 440 yards on a muddy track, so that'll give him some good experience, and then 400 yards, now shortening up to the more common distance of 350 yards, so stamina certainly shouldn't be an issue for Annie Get Your Gun. Jim does go with the favorite Jessie Special Doll, who is dropping in class off of those Derby trial races. Race number 7 is a Texas accredited race at 350 yards, non-winner of 2 allowance contests. And in this race, it's the exacta box that you and Jim both have, although in different orders. Jim is going to go with C.R. Barak, number 3 over number 2 Rink, and you'll go in the other direction. Those are the 2 morning line favorites, so it looks like both of you believe that they stand out in this competition.
Yeah, especially in this short field. There's only 6 horses in here for Texas accredited horses. Now, Rink is one I like. This horse has been very solid out here. Has a win out here on our track. You got to look back to find that, has no wins on our track, but does have a second and a third. That second and that third were in the 2 most recent races. Last time out, this horse was in the trials for the Texas Classic Futurity. Ran a solid second in that one, just missing by a neck. Race before that was trials for the Dasher Cass Futurity. Ran a solid third in that one, beaten by a length and a quarter. The first 2 horses that crossed the line in that race, Extra, Jess and Angel, they both qualified for the Futurity. So definitely a tough trial there. Had some significant trouble, was bumped at the start in that one, but Rink was still able to get up there and hang on for third. I think Rink is in a very good spot here tonight. Does have 1 start on an off track. That was a solid second. That was that most recent race right here on our racetrack when it was sloppy. So all those things together, I think, sets up well for Rink. C.R. Barak, second choice here. You can't fault this horse. The last four races have all been third-place finishes in some decent races. Had a Futurity trial last time at Evangeline. Tried a non-winners of 2 out here back in October. A couple races at Ruidoso before that. A lot of third-place finishes. I love the combination, Rolando Almanza, Ricardo Garza Cruz. I like it when these guys team up. I just think that Rink gets the best of them tonight. And then the 4, Wine is Tempting. That's my third choice. Close up last time out for John Steinbow. That was a non-winners of 2 allowance race on a sloppy track at this distance. Missed by 3/4 of a length. This horse definitely could get up there and finish in the mix.
To kind of be the surrogate for Jim, who's not here, C.R. Barak going back 2 starts back the last time he was at Lone Star. What a run that he had at the end of the race, breaking slowly, was 3 1/4 lengths behind in 7th place, and then ended up finishing 3rd, beaten just a length. So I think a little bit of a better start, and C.R. Barak could be the one, but Rink is definitely a solid choice off of that 2nd place in the Texas Classic Futurity last time out. We'll go to race number 8, which kicks off the late pick 4 on races 8 to 11. It's a classy optional claiming race, field of 7. I'd say of the straightaway races, this is probably the featured one. And you have a field of 7 lining up. And again, you and Jim, I like that you're both on the same page as far as the exacta box goes. But for the top pick, for Jim, it's number 2, Big Eagle Gone, who comes out of the Remington Park Invitational Championship and the Challenge Championship Regional at Remington Park. Race is definitely not to scoff at prior to that at this allowance level, 2 wins in a row. But he takes on a really strong AJS Trace of Paint that is your top choice.
Yeah, I'm going with AJ's Trace of Paint here. What I don't like about Big Eagle Gone is that the horse has been off since May. I would like to see 1 race between now and then. Didn't get it, so I'll go a different way. AJ's Trace of Paint, definitely a good horse here in this situation. Drew the outside. Last time out was in the Derby trial at Evangeline. That was on a sloppy track at 400 yards. Ran a good third in that one. If you look back for this horse qualified for the Texas Classic Futurity last year. So something to be said that's the richest race in the state of Texas, being one of the top 10 horses to get into that race. Had a couple stakes since then. Jack Brooks at Remington Park, a solid 4th in that one, missing by half a length. This horse has been all around it. Needs to get up there for the win. And what I thought the interesting thing was in this race, optional claiming race, I don't see a single horse that's in here for the tag. They're all in under the
I know, I was looking because I'm sometimes like, you know what? The one that's in there for the tag didn't get the conditions, but they'll take a chance and maybe you'll get claimed, but that's a big claiming price of $40,000. So, yeah, I would have, just kind of blindly gone with the one who's in for the tag. But essentially, this is just a really strong allowance race.
Yeah, and we draw up some of those. So, 7 AJ's Trace of Paint, top choice, over Big Eagle Gone. like I said, I would love to have seen this horse to have one start since that last race at Remington. Did have a workout. I mean, back on the 5th of November, wasn't bad there. 1 of 2 on the morning, but I got the horse pick second. Number 1, Sensational Kisser. That's going to be my third choice. This horse was in the Challenge Championships last out at Horseshoe, Indianapolis. Ran 7th in that challenge race. Ran a couple of the qualifiers to get into that one. Finished 3rd in the one right out here at Lone Star Park. That was the Distaff Challenge race. So a pretty good race over our track here. 400 yards. We're going the same distance. I think the one can hold on and do something well here.
This is an allowance race that really has a stakes quality field, and these conditions, non-winners of 2 in 2022, it can serve two purposes. One, to kind of be a confidence booster for a horse that has run all season, but maybe hasn't gotten that win, but also for a horse like Big Eagle Gone, who hasn't raced that much this year, still eligible for those conditions. So this is a race definitely to look forward to. Then to race number 9, which is at 350 yards. It's a maiden race for 3-year-olds and up, big field of 9 going to post. And let's take a look at who your selections are for this 9th race.
Yeah, I thought this race was pretty wide open. Had a hard time choosing some horses here. Ended up on the 5, First Lady TLC. Not a horse that I generally pick in this situation. The horse is 0 for 21. Not something that I really like. But, the horse does have 2 seconds and 2/3 out of 7 starts out here on our track. Most recent race was a second-place finish. And, if you look at that running line, the call right before the finish was an 8th by 2 and then made up some ground and finished second by a nose in that one. Sandwiched right in between 2 next-out winners as well. So, key race is the way I'm looking at that one right there. We'll see if First Lady TLC can't get up for the win in the 9th. Number 4, Remembering Mac. That's going to be choice number 2 for me. Just like First Lady TLC, a second last time out right here on our track. Went a little bit further than First Lady TLC did, going 400 yards last time out. Horse does have 3 starts at 350. No on-the-board finishes for that, but we'll see if, this might be the way to do it for Remembering Max, see if this horse can't get up for a minor award. And then I took the 7, Wild Vibrations, as my third choice. I love horses that are making their second start lifetime or their second start after a layoff. Wild Vibrations fits that right here. Horse is 10-1 morning line before that scratch. Had that one out, was a 4th, missed by a length. The horse that ran 3rd in that one was a next-out winner as well. So we'll see what happens with the 7 here in race number 9.
There was the scratch of number 9, Zapatos Cash Ad, for good reason. The horse entered, but then got the maiden broken on December 3rd, so no
Not
longer.
Not a bad way to scratch because of a win. Right?
Yeah, if you have to scratch, connections are going to be very happy that that's the reason. We'll have a big field of 10 in race number 10, and it's a quick 250-yard maiden claiming contest. And in this 10th race, all eyes, morning line favorite, Rodney's pick, Jim's pick on number 7, Dash and Jesse's. And Dash and Jesse's knocking on the door to get that first career victory.
Yeah, this horse has been knocking on the door, especially those last 2 races. Second in both of them right here on our track. Both running in maiden races, so drops down here for the tag, in for $7,500 tonight. Those last 2 races were both at 250 yards, so we know the horse can run well at that distance. Last time out, caught a sloppy track, just like we're going to have tonight. I think Dash and Jess picks up the win tonight. Number 9, Cartel Little Okie. That's going to be my second choice here. What I need is this horse to break fast. When this horse leaves the gate close to the front, runs a good race. Gets caught behind, does not do so much.
Well, I just got word, and it was something that unfortunately we thought might be the case with the weather that we're having. The word has just come through that the races have been canceled tonight because of the weather, and you could tell how excited we were in talking about this card, that we were looking forward to it, but with the weather conditions, the importance to focus on the safety of the horses and the jockeys and just the unpredictability when you get this crazy weather. If you've been in horse racing, you understand that this is something that can happen, and unfortunately we are the victim to Mother Nature and the cancellation of today's races. So we'll have to get the dust to settle, and we'll make any necessary announcements about how things will be going forward. But unfortunately, going forward, it just won't be tonight. It's not in the cards. But do keep an eye on all of the Lone Star Park communication through the website, social media. We will get more information, and I'm a little bummed, Rodney, but that's the way it goes sometimes.
Well, at least we're not going to be we're not going to go over tonight, right? So no picks. So we're going to have a good night handicapping, I guess. For those of y'all that are still around here on track, we got great simulcast races from all over the United States going on right now. So find you a TV monitor and a betting machine, and hopefully cash a couple tickets before you get out of here, hit the road, and stay safe tonight. It is wet out there.
Exactly. Most importantly, stay safe. For the brief time that I have been with you, I've enjoyed it, and I just want to, as someone coming from out of state, from Colorado, make sure that the team here at Lone Star Park knows how much I appreciate all that they do, and how much of a fan people from outside of the state of Texas are with the Lone Star Park Signal. So sending best wishes for a wonderful holiday season, a great end to the meet. Unfortunately, I won't be here, but Jim will be back, and that'll be something to look forward to when the weather is more cooperative. Thank you, Rodney.
Thank you.
All right. Keep it here, and we'll have more information as necessary. But the biggest piece of news is that, unfortunately, the races tonight canceled with the weather that we're having. Attention fans, unfortunately, because of the weather forecast with lightning in the vicinity, the live racing program tonight at Lone Star Park has been canceled. Live racing canceled for tonight. Races will resume on Thursday. Groups that are here at Lone Star Park are encouraged to stay, as there are races from all around the United States that are being simulcast to Lone Star Park, and you can watch and wager from the facilities right here. Refunds are being issued on wagers that were made for tonight's races. The Mutuals Department is going through that process, so all races that have had bets placed on them, they will be refunded, and that process will take about 20 minutes or so to run through it, but refunds will be issued on all wagers that were placed on tonight's live racing program at Lone Star Park. The two featured Arabian Stakes races today not being run this evening, but the racing office is in conversations with making a plan to potentially run those races back, and more information will be available when the announcement from the racing office is made. So once again, the races for tonight due to weather have been canceled, and we wish everyone a very safe evening. We do hope to continue to see you here at Lone Star Park tonight with simulcast wagering available and live racing scheduled to resume on Thursday.